Hi, everyone. It's Caroline. I just need you to quickly confirm that you can hear me. There was a problem with audio last time. So hello to Darlene and Chanel, Celia, Jens, Linda, everyone. If just one person, one or two people can confirm that you can hear me all right, this would be very helpful. There was a problem with my computer. Okay, fantastic. You can hear me. Problem with my computer last Wednesday. In a way, it kind of worked out, strangely enough. I do find that when I can't do a sorry about that. I do find that when I can't do a session or a live podcast for any reason, that there's a bigger reason than what apparently is the problem. So the bigger reason is usually that it wasn't a good time for that client to do the session that day. I find out later they were ill or they were very rushed or maybe something was going on with me. And in this case, I think that our podcast got pushed forward. I'm getting yes on that because this is the solstice. This is the 21st in our part of the world. And so we send much love to everyone around the world who is experiencing this solstice and just wondering, well, all right, we're celebrating the return of the sun, and so we want things to be brighter now. That's sort of a beautiful metaphor for the fact that, yes, winter is dark, but also we've been in a dark time, haven't we? We've seen for thousands of years on this planet, we've seen intense corruption. We've seen so much disruption of our natural energies. We've seen so much trouble in the sense of the DNA being reduced, of there being so much manipulation of our thought forms and as humans, and so much interruption and disruption of the natural flow of life energies. So we can't really say that the sun is only returning in the moment for 2022 and going into 2023. We can say that, but it's bigger than that, isn't it? The sun is returning because it's transfiguring, not just moving from a yellow dwarf to a white dwarf or what have you. It's moving up in vibration, and those powerful solar rays that are flowing to you and me are changing who we are. These are sentient light codes. And as they reach every cell of the body, they're reinforming us of who we really are. As they reach every particle of our spirit, our mind, our emotions, they're reinforming us. So as before, we might have felt disempowered, we might have felt kind of small, we might have felt that whatever we did was not quite enough, whereas once we felt small, now we're feeling much, much stronger. It used to take so much effort in this world to create any good thing. It used to take so much push and so much determination to create any kind of justice, any kind of feeling that one was moving ahead, and not just financially, but in all areas of life. And it was easy to feel discouragement and despair. And this is not really it's not really who we are. It's who we've been in all the dark years of the Kali Yuga, that 26,000 year cycle. And if you go to bbsradio.com and go to the show page for A Night at the Round Table, you will find a really recent, a week ago, interview with John Fife, F-Y-F-E, who is a Canadian astrologer, and he talks about the change from the Kali Yuga, the era of destruction, to what we're coming into now, which is the Sat Yuga, which is a beautiful age of peace and prosperity. And people will write me occasionally and say, well, if this is the era of peace and prosperity, if this is the fifth dimension, you've got to be kidding. What's the difference? We've still got war, we've still got plague and pestilence, we've still got all this trouble, homeless people, and all this corruption in government. And I would say, well, I completely understand. I asked our friend Rama Berkowitz, who's a Faction 3 White Knight, and that wonderful website is rainbowroundtable.net. Take a look at his news updates if you're wondering what's really going on in the world at rainbowroundtable.net. But I asked him, I said, why does everything look so miserable? And people are asking me why everything looks so dreadful if these fifth dimensional energies are supposedly coming in. And he said, because everything difficult, everything dark is moving up to the surface. It's all bubbling up to the surface so it can be released. So when we look at it that way, it's not so awful. Even this Mars retrograde we've been in, which has meant a lot of mechanical and technical issues for a lot of people. I've been seeing them. Other people have been seeing them. It's not fun and easy. I realize I had to get a new computer. Of course, probably I should have, but there are just these moments where you think, what in the world? Are things getting better? Why is everything jangled? So we're bringing that question to the collective this evening. And we're asking for beautiful energy work and support for how kind of jangled and strange and tossed around we feel at times, especially right now. This has been a difficult few years for millions of people, not just thousands, millions, maybe a few billion, maybe the majority of the human race. And we're being stretched in ways that we never thought we would be stretched in. And we thought maybe a pandemic or a plandemic, as the case may be, was a thing of the past. And we thought maybe people wanting to be totalitarian dictators or telling women, no, you have no rights except the ones we give you. We thought maybe that was a thing of the past. Apparently, there are some dark strains underneath all of our lines of progress, and those dark strains are rising to the top, but to be released, not because this is just where we are and it's where we're going to be. No. So let's not define ourselves by what we see on the news. The collective have been talking about this a lot. Let's not define ourselves by what we see outwardly. There's always more. We can always call in a whole huge, brighter line of reasoning, line of realization and experience, a whole higher vibration of reality. And, I was in a beautiful event with the Hope Interfaith Center over the weekend, and my friend Garrett Duncan was there, and he's an Navajo shaman, and he was saying that sometimes he'll just look at something and have to declare, not my reality. He'll just step aside from it and step away from it and move to a higher timeline. And I think the whole planet is doing that. So, all right, I'm going to bring in the collective. I want to quickly say, wonderful, hi, Kat, wonderful Yvette. Greetings from Gran Canaria. Wonderful. Sounds great. I'm glad you could be here, Yvette. Regina, Bernadette, fantastic. Sheila, in Louisville, and it's cold. Okay. Hello to everyone. And if you're watching this on replay, welcome to you as well. And the energy work is going to be as potent because the collective work out of time, out of space-time. So it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what day or hour you're watching this, it doesn't have to be a special solstice moment of December 21st or 22nd. You're perfect, you're fine as you are. So, all right, let's just sort of take a moment for ourselves now where we're just being very quiet, very calm. There's my friend Vinayak, wonderful. Very calm, very quiet. Let's maybe close your eyes, put your hand in your heart space. We're breathing in through the nose with mouth closed. And right now, especially if you feel stressed, breathe out through pursed lips like you were breathing out through a straw or whistling. So breathing in a long, slow breath in through the nose with mouth closed. Breathing out through pursed lips. That actually lowers the blood pressure, which is wonderful. Just carry on with that for another moment or so. And what that's going to do is put you in your parasympathetic nervous system state, which is so, so wonderful. You're in traffic, you're battling the Christmas crowds, you're feeling like, why does everybody have to be out right now going to Trader Joe's or Natural Grocers, whatever? Why is everybody here? And it just gets a bit stressful and you've got stuff to do at home, etc. That's all right. Go into this breathing. And you can do it in very subtle ways to just breathe in through the nose with mouth closed and then breathe out through the open mouth. It's just very helpful to use the pursed lips. So just carry on with that. I'm going to ask that Archangel Michael be very present with us with his sword of truth and that beautiful blue ray of divine justice. So, Lord Michael, we are requesting you assist us in ensuring that only that which is for everyone's higher good be spoken here and be extended energetically. Thank you, Lord. And Archangel Michael is able to use that sword of truth, of course, to cut through etheric ties, to cut through energy cords between you and maybe a person, objects, old belief systems, maybe old oaths and vows, old soul contracts and agreements, could be spoken or written, that are clinging to you. They're taking your life energy. They're using you, and they're not for your higher good. And if you'd like Archangel Michael to begin the process of clearing you of attachments that are not for your higher good, just say yes. And that would be most attachments. Just say yes, and he'll begin that now. And he's going to use that sword of truth to cut all around, above, and below you. So just allow that. Say, thank you, Lord Michael. If there's particularly something draining you, a toxic work situation, a difficult family member or family situation, maybe something in your neighborhood or where you live, or might be something happening out in the world. You might have relatives in Ukraine or Russia, what have you, and you're just wondering, when's this nonsense going to stop, this madness? Maybe in the Middle East. Could be they are just suffering under intense flooding or intense snowstorms right now, or they don't have work and income. So whatever it is, request that Archangel Michael assist, that he's cutting the cords of everything disempowering your loved ones, as well as everything disempowering difficult situations that should not be happening in a 5D world. So we can just image that right now. And Archangel Michael is on the ground. He's here with the forces of light. He is in physical form as well as etheric, like all of us. And he's now got that swift moving sword. And he's cutting through these ties between us and centuries of corruption in our countries, and thousands of years for some people, depending on what country you're in. Whatever the nation, whatever the forms of betrayal, he's cutting through them. He's empowering us to reclaim our energy. Call your energy back into you. Say your name. Right now, if your name is Heloise, Heloise, get back in here right now. All of me. I'm going to say, Caroline, you've been out traveling. All of me, come in here right now. Every bit of my essence, every bit of my soul and spirit, all of my consciousness, come back in here right now. And as much as my soul can fit into a human, most of us only have a tiny bit of our soul in our bodies. That's all our bodies can take vibrationally, but just call yourself back in. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now we're going to push out the energies that should not be there. You know, the people push their preferences and their will upon us, and sometimes they court us because they just want some of our light, our energy, and sometimes these people are embodied, and sometimes they're beings who are not embodied. Push all that out and see Archangel Michael's to say, take your energy back right now. Anybody who's been rough to you, anybody who's been mean, abusive, anybody you've lost recently, you feel that they're clinging to you for whatever reason. They're not moving into the light. They're still on earth. They're not going on with their life. They're holding on to you and draining your energy. See Archangel Michael's sword come down all around, above, below you, and you're pushing that energy out and saying, take your energy back. That's yours, not mine. I'm not going to live infected with your energy, your will, your preferences, and your belief systems. Take it back right now. Take that back. This is very important, particularly anyone you've been intimate with, anybody you've been in love with, anybody you've been very close to, even as a friend. You've hugged them, you've listened to them, you've taken in some of their energy out of empathy. Give it back. Let it go. Now is the time to stand strong in who we are, who we really are, and to fully recognize who we really are, and not go into this sort of, oh, I'm afraid that they'll think I don't love them, and I'm afraid I'll lose them. No, you can still love someone, but not be full of their energies and their willful intentions and their directions. And for any and all entities sitting in any of these dear ones I'm speaking to now, live or on replay, you need to move on. Go into the light. We're pulling the light down from the higher realms. We're calling your loved ones in. And we're going to say, in this new era, in this 5D era, it's time for you to go back into the light where you belong. Go back home. Look up into that beautiful light. Angels of transition, come forward, please. If you've been feeling down, feeling unhappy, let that come up right now, because a lot of it isn't you. All right, dear ones, come forward, please. You're not, no, it's not your body. Move into the light. The loved ones, come forward and take them. You want to be joyful, you want to be without trouble, you go into the light. Just look up. Just look up right now. This isn't your body you're in. You're in someone else's body. Yeah, just let them go. Move into the light. You'll have a new body in the light. Move into the higher realms. That's home. As soon as you look up, you'll realize that's home. Absolutely. Wonderful. We're going to continue with that. The collective, we're going to be working with everyone on that. But first, we're going to do a brief meditation. And this won't be a hugely long podcast, but I felt the need to celebrate the solstice. And a really beautiful, important thing we're doing, we're releasing the density of 2022 and all the years that came before it. We're sending light to 2023, and we're celebrating the beginning. You know, it's 10 years since December 21st, 2012, if you all remember that. Most of you old enough to remember that. And we were all sort of, oh, great, 5D will be here. Well, it's taking those 10 years to release the heaviness of third dimension. And now we're moving into fifth density, and we're welcoming this powerful light. And it means some days we don't really fully recognize who we are. So we're celebrating the return of the sun, and we're celebrating the return of our true identity, our true wealth, which is just well-being in all forms, our true selves, our true soul power. And we're reclaiming that, and we're moving into those energies, and we're rejoicing. And it's not so that, well, I'm worn out. It's been a rough year, and I've been waiting for 5D, and it hasn't happened yet. I'm just getting fed up. You can just release all that. I know exactly what you mean. Don't trouble yourself with that, friends. Just don't. Just release it. Just say, I know 5D is here because it's in me. And I'm the galactic that I have been looking for to rescue humanity. And I'm the 5D beautiful light being. I came in exactly to help this, not only my own nation, but to help this beautiful planet. So, all right, let's just close our eyes, go back into the heart space. And this truly is a time of celebration of the return of the sun. But also returning back to your beautiful, brilliant higher self, your spirit self, your true self. Absolutely you are. So just notice your breath. And the collective are going to come in now, and they're going to lead us in this beautiful meditation. So just go into your breath. Just takes me a moment to breathe them in, bring them in, and that's who you'll be hearing next. So one moment. Well, greetings, dear ones. We are very pleased indeed to have this time with all of you again. And what beautiful, brilliant lights. Absolutely beautiful and so full of joy for the present moment. You feel the excitement building. You look around. Yes, you see that there are dire circumstances, but you're beginning to realize this is just energy in what I would call physical form. That's what you're thinking. You're not thinking that all is lost. You're not feeling that, well, these issues are too difficult to solve in our lifetime or what have you. You're just accepting this is an appearance. That's all. We're in a giant hologram. We created the appearances that we see around us right now for whatever reason. All right, I accept that. I'm releasing it. I'm moving on. And I am looking at my life and everyone else's life as an example of embodied light. Now, there's other forms of embodied light. You've all seen crystals, no doubt. You've seen minerals sparkling with crystal inside them. And crystal, some people will say, is just a form of solidified energy. It's not actually, nothing is really solid, as you know, but it's just a form of energy that's slowed down enough in its expression that you can hold it in your hand. It is sentient, all crystals are sentient. They're speaking loudly, and there's a huge crystal grid network that runs throughout the beautiful Lady Gaia that you live upon and within. Many of you are inside in inner earth, often in your sleep state, and many of you will be able to travel there. After Nasara is enacted, there will be all these restrictions on travel, whether galactic, up in the air, in this, into space, or otherwise. So, all right, you're realizing, I'm feeling inwardly, even though the news keeps saying everything's wretched, I'm feeling inwardly that there's a powerful light wave, not just moving through this universe, but moving through my planet. And it's just lighting everything up, and it's encouraging us, and it's showing us the way forward, and it's letting us know in this beautiful whisper to the high heart, all is well, all is well. So, all right, dear ones, let's just go into a beautiful meditation for a moment. And in this, our writer put out the email, and she spoke of reclaiming power. So, all right, wonderful. Co-creation is beautiful. Reclaiming your true selves, all of that is occurring now. You might notice you're manifesting a lot more often and a lot more quickly than you have in the past. We would say, whatever you want to create, call upon whomever you call upon, your soul, your higher self, the archangels, the ascended masters, and just say, I would love some help. I'm calling forth your assistance in healing this, or in prospering me in this area, or in connecting me to some beautiful loved ones whom I know in spirit, I just haven't met on earth yet, or a new partner, or whatever the issue. You could be calling in peace on the earth, that's fine. But call us in, dear ones, ring that bell most assuredly. So as you're going into your breath now, image a beautiful column of light pouring down. Just beautiful sparkling light. You're fully in your body. You're very aware of your breathing. And you'll just send your inner self, your inner awareness, up that beautiful column of sparkling light. And it isn't so that the higher dimensions are actually literally well above the earth. They're right here. They're right where you are. But you chose earth-based sight. So you would mainly relate to the third dimension. Now this is shifting and changing, and many are sort of champing at the bit, wanting to move forward and say, I'd love to see fifth dimensional beings and sixth dimensional and so on. I'd love to see the Fae. I'd love to see the angels. I'd love to be able to speak in energy language to the waters it's running past, to the rains, to the mountains, the trees. And of course, you do this already, dear ones, but what you're calling forth is a much more conscious sort of conversation. So you're now traveling up that beautiful pillar of light. And you're coming to a place that it appears to be this beautiful, pure, sparkling energy, sort of like clouds of energy. And this is a very high vibration. This is a very high dimension. And it could be, well above the 9th, 10th, 11th, etc. But this is where you spend a lot of time. And it's where you are developing the self that you are becoming on the earth. You're joining your higher self with your earth self. That is occurring now. Yes, absolutely it is. So as your eyes are closed, you're just looking forward, and you're aware of some beautiful beings on either side of you. These are very loving beings. You might see them as angels, benevolent ETs, soul family. Perhaps your twin flame is there. Whatever you see is fine, dear ones. If you're not good at imaging, then try to just get the feeling. They are around you now. And they're indicating that you should step forward. Now, as you're walking forward, something sort of interesting happens, which is that a beautiful golden doorway appears in front of you. And as you walk closer, it automatically, beautifully opens wide because it responds to you. All things all objects, all form of any kind, whether it appears in etheric or what you call physical matter, have a consciousness. And this dear one, you were stepping forward. So the door opens and welcomes you, and you walk through that open doorway. Now, as you do that, something wonderful happens. Doesn't matter what height you are now, you physically, as you walk through that doorway, you're now 7 or 8 feet tall. And now you carry on walking, and you're loving this new height. You don't feel funny at all because all these lovely beings who are still around you, they're also pretty tall. You're going to walk, and now you see another beautiful doorway, another beautiful golden doorway, and that opens for you. That door opens perfectly. You step through that, and now what? Now you're 10 or 11 feet tall, and all the beings around you likewise. And something interesting is happening to every cell in the body, every particle of your being. It's taking on more light. And you're beginning to understand that you're walking through doorways in a sort of solar energy field. And that's why so much appears to be this beautiful gold color. And yet it's also behind that a brilliant, brilliant white, such as your son Saul has become. You look at the sun now, he's not yellow, he's white. Bright white light. And so now you're every cell of your body, every particle, you're completely sparkling with that beautiful silvery white light. So walk on a bit further, and now you see another doorway, and that opens. You walk through it, and now you're a good 15 feet tall. You're in perfect health. You're in perfect youth, resilience, vibrancy, vitality, and joy. And you walk forward, and you see that there's crowds of people, joyful crowds of people. And you know some of them, and they're very tall as well. So when you see that some of them are extraterrestrial or extra dimensional, you're not shocked at their height because you're as tall. And you have been here before, dear ones. You walk forward, and you see a very great courtyard. And there's beautiful sparkling light flowing from a fountain in that courtyard. It's similar to water, but it's pure crystalline energy. You put a hand out to catch some of that in your hand, and you've got this glittering crystal droplets in your hand now. And you instinctively, immediately know to gather that to your heart, to press it to your heart space, and it goes into the high heart, and now you're shining even brighter. It's like you swallowed a small sun. And now you see some very wide marble steps. They're glowing as well. You walk up those steps and into a beautiful, beautiful temple of classical architecture. And you walk in, and it's a little bit like being in a planetarium because there are little suns and little planets floating here and there, and you're realizing I'm looking at different solar systems, and I'm even looking at different galaxies. And you move forward until you find your own. You find your Milky Way. And within that, you find your own solar system. And all this is floating around you. And this is great fun because it's like being a god or a goddess who's floating out in amongst the stars and the planets. And now you find your Earth rotating and revolving around your sun soul, beautifully represented here. In a sense, you might say it's a model of Earth and a model of your solar system and your galaxy. And then you begin to realize, no, these are representations that are perfectly intrinsically connected to the actual cosmic bodies, the actual stars and planets and moons, etc. And now come up to Earth, and it's the perfect size. It's absolutely the perfect size for you to just sort of put your hands around it as it's revolving slowly and rotating. And let your Earth know how much you love it. Send it words of compassion and encouragement. She has been through so much, this dear one. Send her so much love. And then you may wish to affirm, be thou now healed. And as you're doing that, dear ones, you'll see light coming out of the palms of your hands, going into the earth. It's lighting her up. And she's shaking a little bit. She's shaking off the fleas, you might say. She's shaking off the dark influences. Clouds of dark dust are coming off of her, dark gray dust. It's just releasing. And now you're noticing a construct, an old falling apart in tatters matrix all around her. And your light is dissolving that matrix, and it just turns to tiny dust particles that just fall to the floor and disappear. And now you're going to say the same to humanity, keeping your hands around that earth if you can. Do it inwardly. If you can't physically, that's fine. Same thing. And you're going to speak to humanity. Be thou now healed. And yes, you are healing yourself and all your loved ones in that moment. And see the lines of light again coming out of the palms of the hand and filling the earth with light. See a line of light from your high heart flowing out to the earth. And in that light, she is reminded all over again how well she is loved and how much she treasures human life and has only ever wanted to celebrate it. It has harmed her so badly to see humanity suffering as well as all her other beings. So comfort this dear one, comfort Lady Gaia, and let her know you are now fifth density. You are now a 5D planet. I honor you. I celebrate you. Humanity, likewise, you are healed now and lifted into the fifth dimension. And those of you who desire to remain in the third dimension, you may do so, but let it be a far more peaceful one. Take with you the lessons and the wisdom you have gained here. Now you're going to see a scale. You're going to see, say, 6 or 7 Earths, one over the other. And yours has been a little low on the scale. There's different iterations of the Earth, vibrationally, different realities and timelines, one might say. Now these are collapsing, the different timelines, but you're going to move Earth from where she is, a bit low on the scale, maybe a third to the bottom, for being fairly low and difficult 3D density, and move her up so that she's very near the top. Maybe now she's only one step away from being at the very top. And when she's ready, she'll move to the top. And then after that, fifth dimensional forms and reality all around one. Fifth dimensional atmosphere, energies, environment, all around one and within one. Now we want to speak to you, dear ones, about the fact that the ego mind, the subconscious, get fearful about moving forward and about change. And we have written on this before in our writers' messages to Lightworkers. And it is very important to realize that your subconscious gets fearful and unsure about new circumstances. So it's going to be thinking about this new life, this new fifth dimensional life that you've all been desiring on a conscious level. And it's going to be thinking, well, this is new. This is strange. I'm not sure. Am I ready for that? I don't know. I'm not really sure. It doesn't sound like a good idea. Yeah, nobody's done that on the earth for a long time. How about if we just stayed where we are, etc.? Now, what we're going to do is gather up the subconscious objections And you can do this as well in your heart mind. And in the center of this lovely gathering of that you've been a part of, you've gravitated to your Milky Way and your solar system in this beautiful temple, this planetarium. And in the center there, you'll see a beautiful violet flame, and it just got much bigger. And this is the cool transmuting violet flame of Saint Germain, and it transmits and transmutes everything into this beautiful higher energy. And we want you right now to say to your subconscious, I want you to go into that violet flame, pull out anything in your heart space that's difficult for you, whether you can name it or not. Just see it as a dark gray cloud. Put it into that beautiful violet flame. As soon as it goes into that violet flame, it's going to turn to pure energy. It's going to be transmuted back to pure, raw, unmanifest energy. Just put everything in there. And just draw forth this aspect of yourself that pretty much lives in shadow, and yet, not surprisingly, it's powerful. It runs at least 85 or not maybe 90% of your life. And put it into that flame. Might look like you're just pushing a shadow literally into that flame. Say, subconscious, you belong here now. And I require you to release the density of all the lives I've ever lived, including this one, whether on Earth or other planets or stars. And I'm just flowing all that density into this beautiful flame. And I'm not going to be held back anymore. I'm not going to be held back by past lives, by current life trauma, by old systems, old belief systems I was taught in this and other lives. I'm not going to be held back by anti-deer energy intrusions, by mental programming, by various forms of control, whatever they may be. We're not going to name them all because that is a dark business, but just put all of it into that beautiful violet flame right now, dear ones. Draw it out of you. You don't have to know what it is. If there's something that's plagued you in this life that's very hard for you, some issue, could be about just about anything. You know what it is. Could be several things. Could be some abuse that you have had to work on healing from. Could be low self-esteem. Could be health issues. Could be you're working on your sense of self in terms of perhaps doubling your income, perhaps working independently, working on your own, and you're unsure about that, about how to do it. Never felt you belonged. All of it, put it into that violet flame. Very good. I have the higher self's permission to work with all of you. All of that into the flame. Wonderful. Now, if you want to step into that cool violet flame yourself, that is wonderful. If you want to just gather up the beauty and the joy inside that flame and just pull that into your heart, you can do that right now. Just gather it up. It's just going to look like sparkling light. And put it into your heart space. Wonderful. You want to place the entire Earth, the entire Milky Way, into that beautiful violet flame? Go ahead. That's fine. There's always some density. There's always more, always further that one can travel to higher vibrational levels. And you'll see that they're not destroyed in the flame. They're just raised to a higher vibration. Now Saint Germain is here, and he wishes to say that nearly every country in the world has suffered from violence, from intense, deep-seated corruption, from loss of natural resources or a misuse of them, and from deliberate intent to harm. individuals and the earth. And he is saying, and now the tide is turning. And on this day, on this beautiful solstice day, gather up that strength and that courage and that beauty you did not even know could be yours. Pull it out of that flame and draw it into your energies, into your mind, your heart, your body, all of your spirit energies, your etheric body, all of it. Gather all that up and bring it back. That's right. It's yours. It's yours to claim. Bring it back in. You don't have to know what it is. It's made of pure light. It is full of divine intent. It follows the law of divine love, the highest law. And it wishes only the good, the very best, and the finest of the higher good for all. So again, Saint Germain is saying the tide has turned. And you will see more and more of the corruption coming to light. Do not be frightened. Do not be agitated. This is occurring so the divine justice can reign supreme on the planet. This decision has already been made. All of you before incarnating, all of you decided Earth is coming into higher light. Earth is ascending. It is not only the era of peace and prosperity. All of you have decided that Earth will follow a particularly high path. Will you get there in the blink of an eye? No, because the shock would just be too much for too many. They would not recognize their own lives. They would wish themselves gone from the earth. And no one is desiring that, dear ones. And so the energies have come in a subtle way, and they are shifting you as quickly as possible without throwing all of you off very badly. We understand you have requested and required assistance from your galactic Star Nation families and from the higher realms, and that assistance is here. And it is flowing to you more and more. But be active in calling it forth. Again, ring that bell very loudly. Call us forth. Call us forth at all times, dear ones. Anytime you are troubled, anytime you are feeling that life has become just too much, and that no one is apparently running the ship, and no one is apparently intervening in a benevolent way. And yet there have been so many benevolent interventions, we couldn't possibly name them all. This planet would be nothing but rubble, nothing but an asteroid field if we had not intervened more times than anyone can mention. And still we are. And it is in some ways difficult when you see people whom you've looked up to in the media or in politics or in religion or spiritual circles, seeming to represent the wrong side, seeming to be lying with this group or that, whom you cannot quite believe and could never yourself support. Sometimes these are, as they say, double agents. Sometimes these are people who are being bribed, manipulated, threatened into doing what they're doing. And sometimes they have simply lost their way. But this is their path, dear one. Allow it, all of you. Allow it, dear ones. Allow the path, because you have allowed yourselves your path, haven't you? And you would be very unhappy if someone were to come in and say, you've got to change all that and move up to a higher level immediately because, well, I'm uncomfortable with where you are. None of us are going to speak to you with that kind of manipulative bullying or judgment. And because you are of us, because you are a part of us, we don't see that you're on a separate path in the larger sense. As individuals, certainly, yes. In the larger sense, as far as your soul growth and your determination to come further and further into the light and to return to being the light beings you are, just in a human body this time. As far as that is concerned, we are thrilled for you. You are all doing beautiful, absolutely beautifully. And we are thrilled that you have come in at this time when Earth has so much needed you, despite the difficulty, despite the heaviness of the atmosphere on the planet as things are moving up, as things are shifting. All that heaviness has got to come up to the surface, as our writer was quoting a white knight of the Ashtar Command. It's all got to come up, dear ones. There's no good in, say, for instance, being ill and holding the illness inside the body. Why do you drink a lot of water and get a lot of rest and take a lot of vitamin C when you're ill? Except that you're wanting to chase those germs out of your body. Why do you go outside and breathe fresh air? Except you know that the infusion of the fresh air and the release of the stale air in the lungs is vital to your ongoing wellness. This too is of your design. You are a part of that which has created this universe. You are not separate from it. That is one of the great lies. That has been one of the very great forms of deception and manipulation that you were subjected to for thousands of years. That is ending now. Only those who desire to continue with that sort of path will do so because they draw something from it. It's who they are at the moment. It's where they are. We honor this as well. This is hard for you. We realize you see loved ones who fall for certain forms of propaganda, and you see loved ones who fall for the very old religions that are very stuck in their ways and only very grudgingly grant what they call salvation to a precious few, and they're full of judgment for the most part. And reassurances that, quote, you don't deserve God's love, unquote. And we can tell you, this is on its way out, dear ones. Just do not harbor resentment. Just bless it and say, move into the light when you're ready, friend. We'll be here. We'll welcome you happily. Wonderful. So, all right, we're still there in that beautiful temple, and you're just going to bless that earth. And you might want to hug it for a moment. This is fine. And all is in that beautiful violet flame now. And if you want to keep a sort of smaller violet flame burning in your heart space, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. And it doesn't actually literally burn, so no worries about that. No one wants that burning sensation, obviously. All it does is transmute. And that is a form of rebirth. So we would ask you now, do you accept your own rebirth even when your subconscious isn't very sure some days? Can you be patient? Can you show love and compassion and patience with that subconscious as it pulls back some days? A beautiful way through that is with some tapping. Yeah, tapping on the meridian points. That speaks directly to the subconscious and the etheric body. Decide now you're going to be patient with yourself when you get impatient and you get sad or upset, or troubled by things happening in the world or your own life. You're going to say, this is just appearance. And sometimes, similar to the shamanic gentleman, you're going to say, it's not my reality. I'm just going to bless and release that. So now you're coming back out of that temple, dear ones, with your beautiful friends around you, your equally tall friends, some ETs, some angels, whatever you wish, whatever you see is fine. These are beautiful light beings. They desire that Earth come to a place of peace. They desire that Earth come to a place of choosing higher love as its greatest expression. And you're coming down those wide steps now. And if you want to return back through those doors, you can. But inwardly, are you still 15 feet tall? Yes, of course you are. Of course. This is who you are, and this is a form of remembering and reclaiming. It's not becoming something new. It's becoming who you truly are. You know, when you move about in your etheric body, as you're asleep at night and you're in the ships, or you're in inner earth, or you're in these beautiful sacred sites, and you're working the technology inside of these old pyramids, some of them buried under rubble. People don't even know that they're there, or they're deep in the jungles. They're on every continent, deep under snow, in the far reaches of the earth. And you're reenacting, or you're reactivating rather, the technologies in those sacred sites and in those sacred old structures, such as the pyramids, because what you're doing is signaling the ships and awakening human consciousness to remember, all of you, who you really are, and to signal the ships, yes, we're coming closer to your level of consciousness. Connect with us and send us your light. Enable and enlighten how we think and how we feel about life now. This is just who we are. We are galactic beings. We are intergalactic beings. We are interdimensional beings. We accept that now. And just affirm it, dear ones. Absolutely. We're just looking at a few of the comments. Yes, the vibrations have been extremely powerful. The last few days, but even these last 3 or 4 weeks. All right, there's still ones in Denmark and Sweden. It's going to be very, very powerful there, the aurora borealis that will occur in the skies. That is really a beautiful evidence of what's happening with your sun. And this dear one is saying, really don't like how slowly this raising of humanity's consciousness is moving. I welcome anything that would speed it up. You're speeding it up. You're anchoring the light. You are that which humanity has desired to be, but has been afraid to be. You're demonstrating, look, I hold the light. Is there anything more beautiful than when people are sitting in a room and people are they're sort of complaining a bit. They're a little, oh, I'm just exhausted. Oh, I'm just fed up. I can't believe this happened or that happened, or, maybe out in the world, maybe in their own lives. And then someone comes into the room who is just beaming with love. They're just full of light. And they brought some refreshing food or drink for everyone. And they're smiling, and the smile they offer, and this is all of you, dear ones, the smile they offer is enough to inspire you for a month, at least. Because in their beautiful visage, in their beautiful eyes, is reflected the light of the higher realms. So that as they're looking at you, they're seeing perfection. They hang on your every word. They're thrilled that you're here. And if you knew how many thousands and even millions and billions of higher beings surround the earth and are walking the earth with you unseen right now, who are holding exactly that light for you. And then you feel it unconsciously, you feel it, you take it in, and you beam that out to others. This is how you change your earth, dear ones. This is how you shift. Now, if you would like, now that you've been in the higher realms and you've been releasing a lot of the old earth density, let's just fill that year 2023 with a ton of light. And if you would like more of your special abilities to awaken in that year, say, yes, I call that forth. I call forth what has been in the past been called special sight, the ability to see higher dimensional beings and remain calm. I call forth my ability to heal. Yes, I accept this now. I call forth my ability to see, to have great vision of what is coming forward on the timeline. I call this forth now. I'm filling 2023 full of light. All these aspects of the higher mind are awakening. Some call them the siddhas. That's fine, whatever you wish to call these gifts. These capabilities, you had them once, you're regaining them again. I co-create from the higher heart. I reclaim my light being, self, and status. I reclaim my true role, my true essence. I call this forth now. Just say this, repeat after us if you wish, or say it in your own way, whenever you're ready. I call forth my outstanding manifestation abilities, co-creating from the high heart, only that which is for my and everyone's higher good. I call forth my true wealth and well-being, filling this next year with pure divine light. And in this year, my path moves to a higher vibrational level in all ways. I give thanks. In this year of 2023, between now and the next winter solstice, There is great enlightenment breaking forth and great rebirth breaking forth upon my planet and all planets in this universe. I accept the solar rays. I accept these beautiful solar flares and the empowering energies that flow from them. I meet all change now with non-resistance. I meet all circumstance now with non-resistance. I love and accept. I walked with such a beautiful higher energy that I am only ever treated with respect and kindness. And I am drawn to the most wonderful people and most wonderful circumstances everywhere I go. And I lift the earth with me. And so in this way, I become my higher self and I celebrate. Beautiful, dear ones. Very beautiful indeed. We send much love and many blessings. We are aware that these energies, these growing pains are difficult at times. We are fully aware. And just breathe. Just stay in this present moment to the best of your possible ability, dear ones. Just breathe. Go back to your breath when things get intense and difficult. Do your meditation anytime in nature you can do. We realize it's desperately cold in some places. Do what you can. Even just a few moments outdoors can be very refreshing and renewing. If you can take a brisk walk, all the better. Bless the winter months. They too have their gifts. And so we welcome you, soul, in your return. A beautiful sun. Welcome, dear one. Thank you for all your beautiful gifts. We send much love and best wishes for this transfiguration that you are experiencing. And we know you move up because we are moving up, and this is shifting all very, very powerfully. And so we send much love, dear ones. Many blessings. Namaste. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. Lovely Bernadette. I want to encourage everybody to look into Bernadette Wolf's work. Put your website into the chat there, Bernadette, because she's just astounding. If you've got any curiosity about fairies or angel fairies or dragons or this whole mystical world that you and I were taught is nonsense, it isn't nonsense, and she's just a master at that. So fantastic. Thank you, Vinayak. Wonderful that you're here. He's a wonderful healer. And wonderful that Yvette could be here. Linda, much love. I just wish everyone the most beautiful Christmas. Sometimes we kind of have to create that within ourselves because maybe family situations aren't the greatest, or other situations we're dealing with, maybe something with our health or our finances or whatever. And it can be difficult, I realize, but just play beautiful, peaceful music and demand and require peacefulness to come into your heart. You all deserve that so beautifully. Yeah, wonderful, Sheila. Flicks love. Wonderful. Much love. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you all very much. So I send many blessings. Thank you, Suzanne, and yeah, everyone. Huge blessings, and just please have a safe and joyous holiday time, and we'll see you in January. Many blessings. Namaste.